Best of 3 time is upon us. This is my favourite part of the split. This is where business gets real fast. Yet again, I'm Stanley Greyheart Barker. Again, I'm joined by Alex Neymara. Good.
And this time we are joined not by the two teams that we saw in that last game. We are joined by Oxford Brooks Vipers and the Portsmouth Paladins. They both come from the south and they both finished with an 8-4 record in this regular split. However, because of their opponent win percentage, which is the tiebreak for these teams in their seeding, means that Oxford Brooks Vipers came in as 5th seed. So the top team just missing out on that top 4 qualification, instant qualification into varsity next split from the south, whereas Portsmouth Paladins came in 9th. These teams may well have faced each other before. They're from that same region and will have had some similar experiences, I'd imagine. So I'm looking forward to what promises to be maybe a close series.
It could well be. Remember, this is a best of 3. So unlike the game that we saw previously, there are chances here for these two teams to adapt as things go. We'll see whether we start to see people really picking their preferred champions or if we see the common meta. Already talked a little bit about how champions like Jin, Kale seem to be defining this patch at the moment. See whether those champions are picked up or banned away once we get into Champ Select in just a few moments. Quickly though, let me bring you up to date on how the bracket is looking at the moment. Lancaster, AUE, UC Lap, Stardust Crusaders, Reading Knights, Moo Milk, Bigger Brother, Fearless and University of Edinburgh are all now in the losers bracket, knowing that one more loss will mean that their split is the dunzo. Meanwhile, Surrey Stags are now facing Cabbage Man Dem, Hertstock are facing Grey Warwick Academy, SKT are up against Robbins, Cringers, and as you've just said, Oxford Brooks Vipers against Portsmouth Paladins is our featured match. Each of those teams know that they are now a mere 3 best of 3s. In fact, I believe they've only got to win 2 best of 3s to be guaranteed that position as going into varsity, having secured one of the top 4 places from this double elimination tournament. Exciting times, Alex.
It is, because we already saw a couple of upsets in there. We saw, for instance, Fearless, which were 3rd seed in this bracket, dropping to ESSKT and a number of other upsets there. Of course, this is a losers bracket, as you said. We have a double elimination, so it is not the end of the road. But this still shows how tight this bracket can be. We were saying that Oxford Brooks Vipers, which were out of the 16 teams in this bracket, seeded 2nd amongst them, and they actually have the same amount of wins as the Portsmouth Paladins, who are 10th seeded in this bracket. So there's a lot. There isn't very much between these two brackets, and that means that hopefully we do, when we get into these best of 3s, have some really good content to bring you guys.
That is always the hope. I do have a good feeling about this particular series. I think it's going to be a good one, and I am very much all about getting it started as quickly as possible. We just had a small issue with putting our Champ Select and our game together first of all, so we're just waiting on that one to be all fixed, but we'll bring you that Champ Select of Game 1 just as quickly as we can.
Yes, we will be. Just had to set up that lobby once again, and I think I randomly added one of the friends. So if one of you has a friend request out there, it's from me. Who doesn't want to be friends with me? I know it's a crazy time out there. Don't give me the silent treatment, Stan.
And there wasn't
please,
a silent
come on.
treatment. I totally didn't do any kind of, affirmative action that people would have been able to see that you wouldn't.
Yeah, because I don't get to see your camera today, and I'm here just like, what manner of treatment is Stan putting me under today? But luckily I can distract myself from that with League of Legends and the Newell.
A lovely distraction it is in what's been a very crazy year for all involved. To say though, I've already said this is my favourite part when we get to near the end of every split for the Newell, because we start to get these best of threes, which are so exciting to get the opportunity to cast. But also, this is one of my favourite times in general because there's so little competitive play going on, LCS, LEC, LPL, LCK, etc., that we actually almost get to define the meta for ourselves through these games.
Exactly.
The players who get to come out and show us what is good at the moment and make it their own. As we get into the champ select, we see which champions these two teams are going to be doing that with today.
And honestly, so in that last game, we saw Greyrock Academy succeed by having so many threats where if they get any gold, they just kind of take over the game, that it's very hard to avoid giving gold to all of them at this level of play. We know from our own experiences, from your experiences, from what we've seen on streams, that preseason is very high kills. Loads of action all across the board. We don't tend to have too many reserve performances. I don't know whether that's because teams don't necessarily know the optimal way to play in the early game around where does the jungle want to path, how do the lanes want to play, is it worth not fighting to get more farm or to get certain objectives and stuff like that. But everyone knows a lot of people do a lot of damage, so it's much easier to play around that instinctively. So by seeing this tournament, by seeing what teams have been practicing, and of course defining their own meta in the way that you were saying, Stan, we do get a bit of an early look in where of course the major regions haven't been playing yet.
Definitely love to see it. Hecarim's going to be banned away here. Some Youngles won't have the opportunity to pick this one up. We, of course, saw it being used to great effect by Greyrock Academy last time round. And just coming to you, bring you a little bit of information coming in from Twitch chat. And there are people, or at least a person in Twitch chat, Chimera, who's disappointed that you didn't add them as a friend. So at least one person would be a friend. But I think you've missed that boat now.
Well, I think I've got some spots free. No, just add a friend to feed a caster. That's what we're saying.
That's the saddest thing I've heard in a while. We have got the bans completed. Samira, Victor, and Zillion all banned away by Portsmouth. Oxford Brooks take away Leona, Hecarim, and Camille, leaving a lot open. And I've said it before, I'll say it again, Chimera. Jhin might be the best champion on this patch.
Absolutely might be, because there are so few AD carries which are really slotting in intuitively into the meta because of the change to crit itemization, the change to where breakpoints are in the game, and of course AD carries need to be very aware of that, because if you're facing a very strong 1, 2, 3 item carry, you need to know that item spike. Another AD carry which has been doing well on that 2 to 3 item spike has been the Vayne. It's been one of the few carries which has managed to do very well, and once again we're going to get Vayne Lulu. Are we going to see a Nautilus locked in alongside it? That was the answer that Greyrock Academy had in that last lane. We often see hard engage into Lulu to punish that less lane dominant support of in that enchanter class. If it was something more like a Nami or a Morgana, it can get quite dangerous. But the Lulu in particular can be preyed upon in certain support matchups.
Interestingly, we've not seen quite as much prioritization towards the Kayle as we saw in our last game. Of course, the champion can do so very much in its current state and also has that flexibility between mid and top. Instead, it's going to be the Morgana, also different to the Nautilus that you talked about. Brings about a different kind of pressure, but also an extra bit of shielding for the Jhin as well.
It does. Jhin Morgana has been a lane since Season 5 on Jhin's release. You hit one of your CCs into the other one, of course, having this tortured soil from the Morgana W2 allows Jhin to root straight with his W from a very long range away, meaning that this lane can get a huge amount of CC out of the middle of nowhere, and that can lead into some large setups for a early fighting and skirmishing jungler, like we're seeing out of the Hecarim and a couple of other picks too. Sylas locked in again, seems to be doing pretty well at slotting into this meta in his own right, because he's a flex pick, and we did have a lot of that in the last lobby too. Very, very fun to see the mental warfare between the two teams and how they want to get counter picks.
Yep, Sylas didn't work out quite as well as perhaps people would have wanted last time around for Reading. However, the Kassadin is now locked in as the counter pick, most likely to the Sylas in the mid lane. What do you make of that one?
Well, Kassadin's itemization has been very difficult in preseason. There's no more Rod of Ages. You can go towards an Archangel, but it's not as, again, the word which I've been using is intuitive, because we haven't had a lot of time this patch to really start working all the ins and outs of these new items which have completely changed the face of League of Legends. But casting it into Sylas as a matchup, I don't dislike it. It's an AP matchup. It's melee, which casting can do very well into with the auto attack reset with a W. In fact, you can do very well even with a W start at level 1 to auto attack reset because of the huge base damage on that ability at early levels into the game. The question is how it's going to work into the team comp later on. Is this casting just going to get CC'd up by the Morgana Jhin and then get focused down by the Sylas?
I have had the opportunity to cast a couple of Kassadin games on, well, not on this patch, but on the preseason in general. Both times saw the Luden's Tempest first, and if I remember correctly, one time it was followed up by the Archangel Staff Rush. The other one just had the tier stacking, and on that one, I believe it was a Lichbane picked up second. For what it's worth, in those matchups, the Lichbane one worked out considerably better, giving that power spike earlier on.
So the interesting thing about this patch, of course, is that Lichbane was nerfed. The AP ratio on your on the Lichbane has gone down from 50% AP to 40% AP. Does have a high amount of base AD scaling on it now. It used to be 75%, gone up to 150% now, as opposed to its previous iteration. So the Lichbane is still very strong. That has been nerfed on this patch. I don't know whether that damage nerf will make it a lot harder to really jump onto a lot of carries, because trying to get those 100-0 one-shot. Sylas is actually not Sylas. It's a set. It's a cat. It's actually a placeholder pick. Okay.
Also, the casting is Echo. I've just been informed as well. So that changes this whole dynamic. So we'll take a.
We can cut the VOD there, and we can just remove like a solid 2 minutes talking.
Yeah, so just rewind, forget everything we just said about Sylas, about Kassadin. What I will say, however, is that those 4 bans are all targeted towards the junglers on the second half. There's Barney, Kindred, Amumu, and Nunu all removed from the pool. And unless it's another placeholder, the Kha'Zix has been picked up.
Lovely. Okay, all right. And we have the Rammus put in. Right. Okay, we have
By the way,
so remember.
Champion now. It's an actual champion.
So, well, if it has actually been locked in, we saw the Rammus banned away in the last lobby, and it does pretty good job at just getting on top of your solo threats and just locking them down. Echo is someone that wants to dive in, reset a fight, but you can't do that if you're CC'd into death. If you are going to get Rammus taunted into Jhin W, into Morg Q, into everything else, you just don't get to press your ultimate and you die. So that removes a lot of the ability of that champion. The Akali's been locked in.
Yeah.
Last pick been done very, very. Akali's been doing very well in the preseason by buying the item. The Rift Maker allows you to get a lot of magic penetration, which Akali loves. Throughout, whilst building items which you don't actually get magic penetration on. So you get to halfway house and build a lot of utility items like Azania's, like anything else really. And kind of get the best of both worlds. And against an Ornn, if that is truly the pick in that top lane, that will be a good matchup for that Akali.
We'll come back into that champ select in a moment. We'll get to see things. I do believe that the Sylas will be replaced by the set, which I think will be the top lane champion coming in here for the Oxford Brooks Vipers. I think the Portsmouth Pirates are going to see that Kassadin turning the way of a... What did we say it was in the end?
I think it was an Echo.
An Echo, exactly.
So, I mean, actually, in the grand scheme of things, it's a melee mobile AP assassin. So, maybe not the worst thing. Maybe not the worst thing ever. Okay, right. So just getting the lobby reset up, and I have to force my tiny peanut-sized brain to go through all of this mental rewiring as to what champions are actually on the Rift, and then I'll get back to you on the thoughts with the team composition, Stan.
I'm just grabbing myself my notepad as well, because there are a few things I jotted down about a couple of champions from a week ago that are suddenly relevant. So we'll have a little look at that and how the compositions come together. Of course, that champ select will be going live in just a moment or so. Remember, this is a best of 3. This is not a one and done between these two teams. Whoever loses this one will have the chance to try and bounce back, to reverse sweep their way to staying in the winner's half of the bracket. I can also tell you a little bit about how things are going in our prize bracket as well. Grey Warwick picked up the win against TikTok users. The Arctic Foxes beat Cabbage Family. UCL Exodus beat Lincoln Ascended. DMUT1 beat Bristol Whipped. And already I can see that some results are coming in from the losers round bracket as well, with Cabbage Family having taken a quick 2-0 sweep, perhaps benefiting from an FF maybe from the TikTok users. But Grey Warwick, UOL, Arctic Foxes, UCL Exodus and DMU T1 progressing their way towards the top half of that prize bracket.
And I think everyone's going to have eyes on that. Of course, we are focusing on this bracket right now because there is more at stake for the spring split in these matches right now. And of course, it allows us to scout around a couple of extra universities that hadn't been on stream before. And it allows us to kind of bring a more varied amount of content to you people in the audience too. However, all of these teams looking to progress into that varsity stage will have eyes on that prize bracket too, because they will be their opponents in that spring split.
Exactly right. Not only is there the opportunity to get yourself, whatever nice prizes are being provided this time around by the Null, but also set down a bit of a marker to say we are the team to beat. Now, Rammus has now been shown as definitely locked in, and as I was just starting to say, this is a champion now. People were starting to be shocked when Amumu started to come into play in the last patch. All of a sudden, this champion that was being considered so off meta for so long was back again. Rammus doing the same thing now in the with the back of the Amumu nerfs.
I'd be interested to see what the item coming out of Frankie will be, because we're going to see another remake of the lobby. The thing about Ram is that you can go for the Chemtech Hex tank, the speed up one, which is effectively New Righteous Glory, which allows you to just completely powerball into everything, and it just it just lets you have such a large amount of I think the problem was Echo couldn't actually be locked in right then through some client bug, and therefore we have to remake the lobby.
Hopefully it's not going to be a problem.
Do you like how I pivoted off of the point I made into something completely different, nullifying both of my points there?
Sometimes you just got to do that, right? Yeah, that's an interesting one. Hopefully that's not a client bug where Echo's just not going to be able to be selected now, and it's just a one and done. We'll be able to bring in this game, and we don't have to do any kind of complete remake. Time will tell on that one. Meanwhile, keep talking to us about what the items for Rammus, because I was quite interested in listening to that, and I was about to butt in and even give some of my own input as well.
Well, sure, because I think one of my favorite memories of Rammus in pro play was, besides some accidental lock-ins, there was a game at Season 4 Worlds where Alliance locked in Rammus and just permanently ganked every lane of, I believe it was Najin Whiteshield, the Korean representative in their group. And Rammus has this unique ability to make uneven fights appear across the board in very unexpected situations, and the more move speed you get to powerball into a lane and do that, the less time you have to react to such play. So by getting that Chemtech item as your mythic onto the Rammus and just popping that move speed bonus and just completely throwing yourself at the enemy laners and not allowing a 5v5 to ever start to materialize because someone's already dead in a side lane, you can get some really, really choice engages. And if you have a team that's very well coordinated on the side of Oxford Brooks, they should. It's a Sejuani, not a Rammus. We weren't told about that. Hooray!
So confused right now. And also,
I give up. I'll drink to
anyway.
that.
Just quickly, because. No, I got nothing. No, I got nothing. I'm not saving this one anytime soon. It's all being remade again. Yeah. How often do you see me lost for words? Enjoy this moment while you can. We are going to remake for not a first, second, but a third time. This is our fourth lobby.
Well, if it happens again, I'm going to be reaching for something a little bit stronger than a cup of coffee.
A cappuccino? A double espresso?
A double espresso. Wow, yeah. I have to say, I am a bit of a heathen when it comes to coffee. I am a latte drinker. I do pretty much only drink milky beverages when it comes to hot drinks. I do apologize. I've outed myself on stream in front of a large audience.
When you have your milky beverages, will one of those beverages ever be milk?
I do. I'm not afraid to admit. I like drinking milk. It is okay to do that. I like my dairy.
I'm absolutely with you. The Rammus is back!
It is
back! All hail the Rammus!
Lovely.
So you're talking Chem Tank. The Rammuses that I've seen over the last week or so, admittedly the patch having come through may have changed things up a little bit, have all been Sunfire.
Well, that's the other thing, right? Yeah, if you want to just be the frontline tank, Sunfire is the premier item in the game right now. But of course, Tank can fit that that playstyle of just being that stupid fast engaged champion.
I don't disagree. However, one of the items that I love to associate with the Rammus, and it's particularly good into things like the Vayne, is the Dead Man's Plate as well. And you prioritize that early, you get that extra movement speed as a burst there anyway. Can actually work out nicely. I don't know if I want to tempt fate and say it, but guys, we got it. We got it.
I want to thank production. I want to thank my brother. I want to thank my family. I want to thank Stan for this momentous day where we complete a champion select.
Yeah. Two
It's an
times.
emotional time, chat. It's an emotional time.
Yes, we are going to be able to get into the game very, very shortly unless something goes horrifically wrong, which, let's be honest, we're all placing our bets on right now. So these are the teams, these are the drafts completed. Coming into game one, nameplates off Nymera. Which comp do you like more and do you reckon has the biggest chance of taking win number one?
If it ever gets to grouped up fights, I think I prefer the Paladins, but rarely do you get clean setups at this level of play. There's always a chance that stuff can go wrong. And Oxenbrook's Vipers are a team of some renown. Of course, they're one of the top teams coming into this bracket. So I think that there is a good chance that they can start picking apart this team composition.
Okay, interesting to hear. The Portsmouth Paladins, they're a team who I have a lot of experience casting some of these players, especially Harry, formerly known as Harry the Machine. He's someone who I have seen perform exceptionally. However, they are coming in as lower seeds, and I do like me some Rammus. So let's see if the Oxford Brooks Vipers can make things work and put themselves one step closer to securing their place in varsity next split. Who am I going for? Ooh. Boy, this is a tough one. But you know what? I'm going to go for the Vipers on this one. I don't get me wrong. I kind of want Portsmouth to win. I've got that background with them, but I like the Vipers comp. I just do, just the way it is.
No, there's something. Yeah, there's something to be
That's
said.
my favourite band to say, Alex. Just the way I'm feeling.
Man, yes. Song that is. And of course, I mean, we cast the Paladins in Newell Spring too as one of our regular season matches. One of my very first live casts as a caster. And you asked me back then, do I believe in Harry the Machine? Do I believe in Harry? Because this person has such a standing within your opinion. And he then proceeded to pop off on Xayah, Flash Ward, and get a triple kill. He's on a Vayne, which has such an ability to carry in these late game scenarios, which it does get very messy. So I'm willing to be called a believer once more. I do think that if this can be a fight with a good parallel convergence and a Call of the Forge God delaying the amount of dive that can reach the Vayne, Harry can pop off. The problem is if you've got your Echo, Vayne, Lulu, Kha'Zix picked off by the Rammus, Akali, and the long-range follow-up of the Jhin, it's not going to be so simple as just protect the Vayne, because a lot of those pieces can get torn out of your composition in that objective setup. Hey,
Alex, do you know what's funny? I asked you back then, and I'm still surprised that we asked you back now.
That's wonderful, Stan. That's wonderful.
Love you, bro. So, it's an interesting one. If anyone were to be playing this Vayne in the hyper carry, seeing it get to the late game and winning fights, Harry Machine definitely someone very capable of it. I'm intrigued to see how the Ornn comes in. Of course, we're not looking at quite the same ornaments that we did in the last season. All of a sudden, there is that opportunity to upgrade every single mythic in the game. So we'll look towards some of them as they come through. That's something we've got to look forward to. And after what has been a somewhat torturous champ select screen, it looks like we're finally getting onto the Rift. But you will have to wait just a few moments more to find out how this game is going to play out, because we're cutting to a short break. Game 1 in this best-of-3 series between the Oxford Brooks Vipers and the Portsmouth Paladins is underway, and straight away, the 5-man unit of Oxford Brooks is roaming their way up to the top lane. Watch out, Mr. Orn.
Watch out, there's a lot of CC from the Morgana. Let's see if they can path effectively. You got to hug that wall, make sure there's no vision. Put a wall down, hope that dark binding hits, but they put the wall down, he managed to get out safely.
Yep, safe play coming in. Beach are going to be all right on this one. A vision score is going to be gained there for the Jin, who gets that extra little bit of XP before getting into lane. Kha'Zix was able to find some vision on towards the blue buff of the Oxford Brooks Vipers as well, so at least a little bit of extra vision has been secured there. In fact, could argue the Portsmouth Paladins have done better out of the early vision trades.
Yeah, so two things. So yes, the vision on both sides of the jungle, very, very important when you do have a jungler like the Rammus that can hyper gank. And there are two melee versus melee lanes in those solo lanes, because of course, if you're stood closer to the center of that lane, you don't get to stand back and use your ranged auto attacks. Someone like a Rammus has more range to start running at you. Okay, so Rammus has been seen on the bottom side of the map. Know that that's going to be with a starting position from the side of Portsmouth Paladins. However, on the other side, remember that ward was killed. That does give a bit of XP over. But actually, if you share XP of a killed ward at level 1 between too many people, your solo lanes don't hit level 2 off of that first wave like you can do if you only share it between, I think it's 3 people.
Yeah, that's certainly not the case, especially as I believe Jin was the one who actually got that final hit, so definitely not going to be able to help out the Vipers too much. Meanwhile, with that vision secured on towards Francassee, I do wonder whether or not Sammy Young is going to be able to make any kind of play of this. Already securing the red buff, opting to go straight over to the Krugs on the back of this. It is, of course, such a high XP boost for junglers at the moment.
I'm actually not sure what path he's going to go towards, as obviously with the XP changes coming through and the changes to jungle, as it seems to be so customary in every preseason. The optimal level 3 paths, the optimal XP paths have changed quite a lot. It looks like Kha'Zix is going for a full red side clear, unless he actually stops off 2 wolves. No, he is stopping by the Raptors and is seen on a ward, so vision for Oxford Brooks Vipers on the enemy jungler.
Is absolutely clutching. That's a crucial ward to get down there, showing just how important that vision control can be for these teams. An interesting thing that I heard a little while ago, I was speaking to a Grandmaster jungler, and he was talking about how actually playing against people in this elo, it's all about who is the best macro and understanding where people are going to be counter jungling, because you know what they're doing, getting the vision down at the right times to help protect your laners. But the second that you drop down into lower elos, it becomes a bit more of a free-for-all. You don't necessarily know what's going on.
Red buff steal. Blue buff steal.
Blue buff contest. The taunt is frenzying and is catching up to Sammy Youngles as he tries to get himself out to safety. Is going to be able to do so, having stolen that one away from Francassee.
So no flash is blown, chunk onto Kha'Zix, but this means that actually what that does mean is that Kha'Zix might be low health to try and contest from the scuttle. Ornn has made his way down and Echo has priority. Echo might get ganked as a response though.
Very, very true. That is going to be a power ball and a frenzying taunt straight on to the Echo. He dashes straight back, getting some damage down onto Francassee, trading back, finding the shield off the parallel convergence, and also buying a crucial little bit of positioning gain there for Sammy Youngles, who's able to take away the Scuttle Crab you were talking about.
Exactly. So Kha'Zix manages the battle ward, take something away from the Rammus and take away that top scuttle, meaning that at least for Kha'Zix, he can start running down in those 1v2, in those 2v1 situations against those solo laners. Kha'Zix not a champion that really likes ganking a duo lane because it's harder to isolate targets, and this does mean he'll have access to maybe try and whittle down that Set and Akali if they step out of position.
Sure if you saw it there, but Harry was playing with fire, tumbling forward, trying to find that extra damage onto players like a boss and onto Jack as well, quite making it work out this time. This is something Harry does. He goes aggressive. He is not scared to step forward, as you see yet again. Also running the cleanse in this matchup, so we'll be able to escape from that taunt, from that dark binding a little easier.
But that can be so important for Vayne lanes, because the thing about Jin is that all of his damage is point and click. Very quickly you can Q or fourth shot into the Q, yes, it just allows, because Vayne normally tumbles out of stuff like Lucian Q, which is one of the best trading mechanics you can have on that champion, and the like. Because all of that damage is almost guaranteed to hit, Vayne can have a very hard time in lane. So you have to make sure you are making the best work of trying to trade back as well. Every time that Jin is trying to trade, at least you're trading a tumble for it, even though you might lose out in some of the longer damage trades.
Yeah, they are losing out, and they are losing out on CS as well. Falling 10 CS behind to the Jin already is that Vayne, but even so, making sure they're not giving away an early first blood or too many big trades. Going to be able to mop up a good amount of this CS under turret. That is going to be a connection coming in. It's going to knock up from Beach, looking towards Battlefield, who's already used that shield.
done. So looking across, CS leads across the rest of the map. On shoving that wave into top side will allow Battlesuit to pick a bit more CS, just like the Vayne did on the bot side. However, the only real CS lead is sticking out in the bot lane from those lanes. But remember, Kha'Zix is the person that was taking away camps from the Rammus and has found a couple of camp advantage onto that jungler too.
Certainly has. We've already seen the recall coming out of Frankie, and it is going to be that Bammy Cinder picked up.
So that means it's going to be double
It's to say I
DT.
told you so. All right. All right.
Wow, your casting ability is matched by your impromptu music ability, Stan.
Hey, what can I say? Big Hives fan.
I told you, last time we talked about One Direction, I literally only know early 2000s new metal and some kind of classic rock. That's kind of my strike zone.
Oh, speaking of strike zones, it is going to be Rat who finds the damage on Miss Dane, who dashes forward. Akali go, grr, Akali go, don't stop, Akali don't stop. Akali got a job, Akali got to work, Akali gives up first blood.
And Stan goes, whatever the heck that was, first blood over to the Echo, the melee AP, whoa, flash in!
Oh, the damage is there. W Flourish is going to secure the kill onto Vayne. Meanwhile, Ornn finds a kill in the top lane, just like last time. Action all round here at the Null.
Everything explodes within 30 seconds of each other. Seems like a tried and trusted way to get ahead in the early game. It's 2-for-1 over the side of Portsmouth Paladins across the map. Who gets the gold? It's the solo lane of the Ornn and the Echo, but the Vayne, who is in that hard matchup in the bot lane, is suffering and now has to go up against the early serrated Dirk from the Jhin, probably building towards that Eclipse, and Jhin is so effective with the lethality build on the preseason patch.
Well, the Noon Quiver picked up there by Harry just a few moments ago will get that extra damage towards the minions and the monsters. However, it is not the position that I'm sure they would have wanted to be in, already seeing so much damage being built up on the Jhin. Meanwhile, Kha'Zix takes away a red buff for the second time. There is an Infernal Dragon available in the Rift. We're not seeing quite as many early plays as we did from the Hecarim last time round.
Yes, you're very correct in saying that. Really want to praise Plays Like a Boss for that last play, but it's Akali getting hard traded on once more.
Oh, trying to perhaps bait this one in, knowing that Plays Like a Boss is waiting in the wings. Miss Data finds some good damage, but Sammy Youngles has the Void Assault, goes invisible, finds the damage on Plays Like a Boss, who finds the Dark Binding. Plays Like a Boss under so much trouble, though. Rat finds yet another kill, looking towards Miss Data, who doesn't have the Shroud, has to flash away with Zomimi coming, Ini, and it is going to be yet another kill secured by the Portsmouth Paladins. They are now level on gold, despite the bad trades involved.
Oxford Brooks gonna have themselves a rodent problem because Rat runs down another kill using the increased movement speed from the Echo to force out the flash from his opposing laner as well. It was a timely roam from the Morgana. Akali's sticking out. I'm not really sure you want to stick there when there's the Echo ult available. Might be able to trade the ult even for a kill, or even just trying to just get rid of some of that farm away from the Akali. Just make sure that you can even up that mid lane disadvantage right now. But I'm really impressed by how Echo just navigated that fight, and unfortunately the Morgana in the wrong place at the wrong time. Very, very strong when you're on the front foot is that enchanter slash engage support, but there's a call of Gold Forge on the top lane.
Beach looking for a second solo kill onto Battlesuit, who's going lower and lower, trying to get safety. Does have a flash, but doesn't use it. Beach would have had the flash to follow, but didn't need to. Now 2-0 in the lane.
So one of the skills I had to develop as a caster, particularly as a color caster, is to learn when you think a solo kill is going to come in and then just shut up and let the play-by-play do their thing. Sometimes someone knows their calculations so well and it's not obvious to you that it can just end up being a kill out of nowhere. There's a Rammus coming into bot lane. I should have shut up right then.
Got the bash shield on top of him. As a result, he's able to flash forward, finds a taunt, gets the... it wasn't a cleanse out of Harry because they'd already used it, but the turnaround is here. Sammy Youngles finding the kill onto Franken, who goes in too deep. Now Battlesuit comes in, finds himself the order straight on. Sammy Youngles has a wild growth. Battlesuit's going to be slain, but so is the Kha'Zix. Jack finds himself a second kill of the game. Now has to run away as Harry comes and looking for more. Beach having come down the teleport, doesn't have the ultimate available. Damage is good, but look at the Forge God. He roams forward. He finds another kill, this time in the bot lane.
So while the bot lane 2v2 was really going the way of Oxford Brooks Vipers, the rest of the map is going the favor of Portsmouth Paladins through some huge plays from team captain of B3 ACH in that top lane. But wow, Morg actually threatening a kill on that bot side. Lulu Shields, very timely there.
Certainly is, and this is everything I was saying about Harry before. Not afraid to play around with low health bars, make plays work, and actually on the back of that Powerball engage that we just saw from the Rammus, it was Harry who was able to turn things around under his own turret. A very, very close game. It's slightly less close than it was because the Portsmouth Paladins now have themselves a 5-kill lead, a 1,500 gold advantage.
It is. It's 1,500 gold. There's a dragon to the side of the Portsmouth Paladins, but they are not bereft of tools to fight back in this game are the blue team of Oxford Brooks Vipers. We saw this Morgana making plays, the Jhin very strong ahead of that opposing AD carry in that vein. Echo just threatening once again, Akali being forced off of a lot of the CS, maybe trying to force away a cannon. We'll actually be able to pick that up. But the pressure is allowing Sammy Youngles to take the Herald right now.
It is. He has been spotted out doing it, but it was just too late for Franco, who prioritized the blue buff and as a result missed out on getting Shelly. That will be some extra plating, almost certainly going down for Portsmouth Paladins as they find themselves yet more of a gold lead here. They have done really well despite the fact they've got CS disadvantages in 2 of their 3 lanes. Gank coming in the lane that they are ahead on CS as Beach throws down the call forward. God seeming happy to duel it out against both of these players. Battlesuit having to flash himself away. Here comes Sammy Youngles. Beach is still alive. Franca C might not be for very, very long. He gets slowed. He gets tagged by Sammy Youngles, who slashes himself another kill. Meanwhile, Mimi steps too far and Jack finds his 3rd of the game.
More kills coming in seemingly from nowhere. Actually, now Harry is walking up very, very far, but there is none of that CC available right now. W misses from Jhin, so Harry gets out alive. So cross-map win for Portsmouth in the top lane, but it's for Oxford in the bot lane. Sammy Youngles taking away some of that farm, taking away a kill, doing very good at making sure that every time that he's not involved in a play, he's taking camps, and that's why there's a big advantage in that jungle right now.
Miss Data looking for a potential kill on the right, who flashes away, did have the ultimate available, but decided not to duke this one out against the Akali. Interestingly to note as well, Sammy Youngles, who threw down that Oracle, did spot out the recall coming through from what I believe was Battlesuit in the top lane in that bush just between the turrets. However, the leap arrived just too late to secure another kill for Sammy Youngles, luckily for Battlesuit.
Harry is playing so close to the edge in this bot lane.
He always does.
In fact, he's playing so close that the curtain calls opened up.
1, 2, 3, 4th shot. Catches onto Zanini, who does a great job blocking for his ADC, who was safe as houses.
I guess if one more shot landed onto the Vayne, that could have been kill pressure. As it stands, they don't manage to force away the Vayne off of that wave. Maybe that was the whole idea. And mid lane, similarly, just continuing to fight between these 2 AP carries. Big
aggression from Miss Data, but here comes Beach, the 3-0-1. Goat is here again. Franca comes in, finding the taunt, but dashing forward, Rat finds more and more damage on Miss Data, who's burning down from the Ignite. Has to step away from the safety of the turret because this is yet more pressure being put down. Beach, Call of the Forge God, is going to connect. Rat looking for yet another dash forward. Isn't going to be able to find the damage. Does have the parallel convergence for the shield.
There is no rhyme or reason. This is let's kill in lane and then move on to turrets. We're not talking about moving around the map for objectives. It's lane, kingdom, every playmaker trying to pull up their socks and be the carry for their team.
Very true. We had Faker in the last game, but the playmakers are here this time around. Second dragon of the game spawning in just a moment or so. Infernal was picked up earlier on by the Portsmouth Paladins. They'll look to try and get themselves a Cloud Dragon soon as well.
Will do. So the Sunfire Aegis picked up by Beach. I don't know why I said B3ACH. You know, I'm just like, I'm not down with the kids. I forgot about numbers also being letters, and I apologize profusely.
I mean, maybe he's just a really big fan of, you know, Johann Sebastian Bach, so...
True, sure. I hadn't thought of that angle either, Stan. Not me.
This dragon, as I promised, was secured by Portsmouth Paladins. They've got themselves a 3,500 gold lead. They've got 2 dragons to the good as the Ocean Rift bringeth life. Life is very much so needed for the Oxford Brook Vipers now as they look to stay in it, and a lot of their hopes must be pinned right now on the Jhin, who is 3-1-0 and does crucially have that Eclipse completed.
The Deuce, that's the Mythic on that AD carry, still getting a lot of damage out. The lethality will work wonders against 4 out of 5 members on the side of Portsmouth, but Kaz is going in, but he's going into the Rammus.
Straight into a taunt, straight into a deadly flourish, straight back to the fountain. Shutdown comes through. First kill of the game for Miss Data, who really needed that one to get going.
And that's a bit of an unfortunate angle for the curtain call. It meant that actually Zamimi could get a very high value flash, get out with their life, and no follow-up CC or threat would come through either in terms of CC or that damage from the Cold Forge God. Ram's going on the Powerball, but the minion wave... Oh, wait, binding?
Yeah, final hour is going to go in, but it is going to land straight to a Dark Binding, straight to a Deadly Flourish. That's going to mean safety for the diving team, which in this case was the Oxford Brook Vipers, as they tried to push their advantages off the kill that they managed to pick up onto the opposition jungler. They weren't able to get too much more. Turret plating has now fallen off, and of course, so much turret plating was secured by the Portsmouth Paladins. Battlesuit taking so very much damage from the Forge God, who is 3-0-1.
And this set's really struggling in this matchup. Not able to punish the set, not punish the Ornn rather, not allowed to push in, and that allows Beach to make it to the fights on his own terms. You know, it's not going to be Ornn stuck in the turret, forced to teleport to try and respond to a play across the map. It is just the set not really winning in the 1v1 and struggling to have impact in team fights.
Is Franca finding himself a knock-up onto 2, finding a taunt as well. Zamimi is going to die, already putting the wild growth down onto Harry, who stays alive. Only the one death so far for Harry as he tries to continue his dominant plays, but he is having to at least accept that the turret is not somewhere he can safely be right now. And I say that and he steps forward again as the turret falls. Beach, meanwhile, duking it out with Battlesuit, looking for yet another solo kill. Is going to find the showstopper straight onto his head, but Sammy Youngles is here for support, and yet again, Battlesuit is dead. Beach on an absolute tear. Miss Data looking for the shutdown, forcing the flash. Call to Forge God is going to be channeled, but not in time for a recall bounce back. It's going to be Miss Data getting yet another shutdown. That's 450 goals worth of bounties for Miss Data recently. However, they might be about to give up one themselves. They haven't got any bounty to give up, but they certainly have got a life. They've still got that life as well, because the turret is there to save from Rot.
You know what you were saying earlier, talking to some higher level junglers, saying a lot of this elo is about just being in the right place at the right time. This is exactly what we saw in this last 30 seconds to a minute. It's a lot of people trying to make the individual players seeing things that plays made in isolation, but then that play in isolation chains into something else. We see Battlesuit trying to go for a 1v1, getting pretty close with that on, but then doesn't understand that the Kha'Zix can be in that area in the map. Then neither of those understand that Miss Data could be in that part of the map. Gets a kill traded back, but very nearly has to give up a kill themselves because the Echo wanders round 2. This is a continual flowing motion game, perpetually moving across the map of where the possible locations of all these champions can be.
Very true, Alex, and right now one jungler is securing the Herald, but it's about to be found out by the other jungler. This could come down to a smite fight, but Franca has to be so careful, giving this one away as a result, not wanting to give up a kill as well as the second Herald of the game.
So next
oh my
thing
god, look at Beach's health bar already.
It's just incredible. Like, the thing about Ornn is that he gets extra, so rather than just getting an extra 10% extra magic resist and armor, he now gets extra percentage armor, magic resist, and HP. But the thing is, he doesn't get 2 upgraded items for himself anymore. So you think, okay, well, maybe that same spike at level 13 doesn't quite come through as effectively. Well, now he gets extra stats for each of his allied items he upgrades too, because it ends up making up for the item which he hasn't got to upgrade for himself. Late game, Ornn is going to have a whole truck ton of HP, armor, and magic resist to deal with, and I'm really not sure this team of Oxford Brooks Vipers have the DPS, even across all their team, and even like the Jhin, who's very strong in this patch, to really take down that guy.
Rat has just obliterated Battlesuit's health bar. He managed to find the shield out of the Haymaker, but Rat is definitely still the one with the advantage here. Battlesuit has a flash available. He used the Haymaker. He managed to force Rat under turret. Not going to stop a kill, which is now 3-0 for this Echo. Battlesuit having a real rough time. Just about to talk about how to shred through health, about to bring up the fact that Battlesuit's got the Blade of the Rune King, but as a result, as we just saw there, he himself not even a little bit tanky.
Has no mythic yet, had to go for the Blade of the Ruin King. The Blade of the Ruin King was nerfed this patch too. It went up from 3,100 gold to 3,200, and the attack speed you get from it went from 30% down to 25%. So it has been nerfed in 2 categories, and you still don't get any of those extra stats or those huge passives coming in from the mythics.
Meanwhile, in the game, 19 minutes will be coming up on the clock soon, and the third dragon has already appeared and already been started by the Portsmouth Paladins. They are well and truly putting their mark on this game, looking so good, finding themselves sole point pre-19 minutes.
And one of the things for me is that this Echo, I mean, turns out the third verse is the same as the first 2. He's got himself a whole load of kills, a whole load of gold, and now in these side lane matchups, I know we were talking about right in Champions Slate, as soon as the Akali was locked in because of the whole shenanigans, we thought, okay, well, Akali will have a good side lane matchup into the Ornn. Mid lane matchup into this Vayne right now, though.
Straight away, we are going to see Harry in trouble, cleansing himself away. The wild growth there, keeping him alive for now. Zamimi, the new focus, but Jack unable to find the kill. And yet again, the Lulu Vayne lane playing out very nicely, even in the 3 versus 2 situation. That is going to be Herald summoned on the bottom half of the map. Not forget to charge away to the inner turret. Meanwhile, Rat dashing forward, looking for the damage onto Jack, who is the 4-1 carry right now for the Brooks. He is going to be able to survive as both teleports come in. Beach is going to come through just as Miss Data arrives as well. Call of the Forge God is going to find the knock-up onto Franca, but he is far too far away for any further engage.
Okay, so what does this chain into? We have a Kraken Slayer on the Vayne. That's an item which has been buffed this patch. Works really well with the Silver Bolts, and the Mythic passive means you get attack speed, which is the stat which Vayne really, really likes. So eventually Vayne is going to come online, and that means that the Baron is going to be under a lot of threat. We also saw that Kha'Zix has a lot of damage in his own right. I guess just farm through those solo targets very well. That means the Baron between the Kha'Zix and the Vayne, with someone like the Ornn tanking, is very much a threat, which Oxford Brooks Vipers need to pay attention to. Top lane, we now have the Akali versus the Ornn matchup. The Riftmaker has been built up by Akali, allows you to get a lot of true damage and have tank shredding capabilities, but I'm not sure if Akali can really deal with the Ornn anymore. 4-1-1 with that Mythic Sunfire Aegis being built up by Beach, really, really hard to take down. Just look at that HP bar, like you were saying.
And more crucially, going against the Akali as well, Mercury Tread's already there, Abyssal Mask already completed, that other item that normally you would see upgraded for the Ornn back before pre-season. With both of those items, so much magic resist, Akali unable to shred through Beach at this point, and frankly, I don't know how Beach dies in these fights. The question is, will the carries be vulnerable meanwhile? Because if Harry comes online, which he is so close to doing, so close to hitting that 2-item spike you spoke of in Champ Select, if that happens, I do not see a way back for the Vipers. That being said, things are going closer. Harry tumbles forward. That, my friend, is a deadly mistake. He tumbles away in last hour, and Sammy Youngles arrives in time to find damage done, and Jackie gets the final blow, and now Harry tumbles back forward, having survived, having had the protection from Zamini. It's 2 kills for the Kha'Zix. Might be able to make it 3. No, it's Harry who takes that one. The Powerball not enough to save the day for Franca C. He's now Franca dead.
Do you like invisibility? Well, have some invisibility to go on top of your invisibility. Sammy Youngles remains unseen throughout the grand majority of that fight, gets away with so much extra damage, and that's going to chain itself into a Baron off of what seemed to be an over-aggressive positioning mistake from Harry. It's a massive win for the Portsmouth Paladins.
Talked about a quick Baron. I won't say that this is exceptionally fast, but considering that we're only just past the 20-minute mark in the game, it's pretty good. Call of Forge God will stop Miss Data from coming any closer. That was the only potential saving grace that the Oxford Brooks Vipers had in this situation. Now they're going to have to deal with 5 Baron-empowered members of the Portsmouth Paladins, who have a near 7,000 gold lead at 22 minutes.
Dude.
Wow.
A lot of that comes from the boldness of this bot lane. We've seen that the Rammus will continually go for this duo of Harry and Zanimi. They just got that target on their back. And credit to them, Harry has not backed down. Not just said, okay, right, we'll play defensively around that. This time, they managed to wait for their team to come in. They have Kha'Zix come through. They end up following up, and it nets them the largest win, or at least individual phase of play win in this game so far.
And that Rage Blade now completed for the Vayne. The 2 items are there, already getting some lifesteal. I shouldn't call it lifesteal anymore. Getting some, that vamp in, coming in from... No, it's still called lifesteal, isn't it?
No, that's still lifesteal. So there's lifesteal, physical vamp, and omnivamp. Those are the 3 terminology now. So
it is still
omnivamp is the
lifesteal.
stuff which... Yeah. So this one's still lifesteal. The thing about lifesteal is that it applies to all physical on-hit effects nowadays. So if you have stuff like Blade of the Ruined King, which applies to that, the lifesteal actually applies to that. Then you've got physical vamp, which is of course stuff like your ability damage too, and omnivamp, which applies to all damage you do.
Miss Data arguably greeding to try and clear out this control board, standing on the parallel convergence for the longest of times, finding a stun, finding yet more damage.
He's going
Gonna
back.
look for more because Miss Data still trying to take away this ward. Has got the support of Rammus, but I'm not sure that's enough to be able to deal with Rat right now. He's 3-0. He's got Lichbane completed. Stay away, Akali.
And the thing is, you already have the set in the bot lane. Akali is just there because the dragon's coming up soon. There's no teleport on the Akali, and that means that a wave was lost to top lane turret. There's extra gold being bled out by Oxford Brooks Vipers. Now they have to see if they can win this dragon because it's the Ocean Soul point, and that would surely seal the game because I cannot see Ornn dying with that, ever. Even with a 1v5, it's going to be so hard to take down that tank.
Just as this 4th dragon of the game spawns, I spot an old familiar name in chat. Divinus is there. That's a name I haven't heard for a long time. And well associated with Portsmouth, I'm sure we'll be pleased to see the team doing so very well here. They've already secured themselves the Ocean Soul. They've picked up a kill onto Morgana. They found another onto the Rammus. In goes the set. Dead goes the set. Jack now under pressure from Harry, who, as we know, will take moments like that for days. Sometimes his bravery is his undoing. In this game, it has not been so. 3-1-5 on the Vayne as they crush down yet another team fight, and they look towards the inhibitor.
And Harry says, that's for laning phase. Jack takes down the kill in the honorable 1v1. Gonna take down the inhibitor. Surely the Nexus to follow.
I certainly think that is entirely possible in this situation, because look at their health bars here. No one under threat. And for the first time in our casts, and the null split this time, it is an FF pre-25. An absolute dominating performance coming in from the Portsmouth Paladins. They go 1-0, and they only need one more to progress in the winner's half of this bracket.
The higher seed drops a game. It's a best of 3. It is not the end of Oxford Brooks Vipers. They have themselves one more game to, well, turn it around. Of course, if they lose one more, they'll be shunted down to that losers bracket themselves to be played on Friday. But this is a good start for Portsmouth Paladins. Of course, we favor the Oxford Brooks Vipers in a lot of ways with their composition coming into this game, thinking, well, if you can get a lot of picks before it becomes a 5v5, it gets very difficult because the Rammers can just initiate play so well. What we saw happening in reality, though, was the Rammers going in and Harry and Zamimi particularly just outplaying and making sure that it could reach that teamfight stage.
It was an excellent performance coming in from pretty much everybody on the Portsmouth Paladins. They'll look to do the same in Game 2, where we'll see the Oxford Brooks Vipers looking to bounce back. I can give you the news that we have had our first elimination from this double elimination bracket. Is the University of Edinburgh, who fell to Fearless and unfortunately played no further part in the split. We won't be seeing any of them for a little while. You won't be seeing any of us for a little while either, because we're cutting to a short break, but we will be back for Game 2 in this series very soon.